Southwest Florida's news source. This is Fox 4 News at 6.
A 4-minute delay in an ambulance being notified.
It could mean the difference between life and death depending on the situation.
All new at 6, could the death of a young man in Naples have been prevented? Why a Southwest Florida doctor says a life or death mistake made by emergency workers may have cost a family their son, and what should be done to prevent it from happening to you?
A Cape Coral senior citizen robbed in broad daylight in this area, but it's what was taken that's making this crime even more despicable.
A Fort Myers man is accused of having sex with a young boy. How investigators uncovered the shocking accusations.
But first, breaking news in Charlotte County. A Port Charlotte father is charged in the shooting death of his 3-year-old son.
The child dying after somehow getting his hands on the father's handgun and accidentally shooting himself. 4 News Corner's Mike Mason in the studio tonight to explain why the father is now facing criminal charges.
Yeah, it's a tragic story we've been following for the past few months, and tonight authorities say a father's negligence led to the deadly accident. 24-year-old Christopher Davis is facing 1 count of felony culpable negligence for the death of his 3-year-old son, who's also named Christopher. Back in November, the child shot himself in the head after getting a hold of an unsecured handgun in the family's Port Charlotte home. He later died at the hospital after a 3-month-long investigation. The sheriff's office now saying they found the father left the loaded firearm within the reach of the child, and it was not stored away properly.
And unfortunately now a family is grieving once again, first for the death of a 3-year-old child, and now for the arrest and subsequent prosecution of the father. Whatever way this case goes, the father still has to live with that for the rest of his life.
And this morning, Davis turned himself in at the Charlotte County Jail. He has since been released on his own recognizance. If he's found guilty, he could face up to 5 years in prison. Live in the studio, Mike Mason, Fox 4 in your corner.
4 in your corner is not giving up and trying to get answers for a Collier County man who believes a glitch prevented an ambulance from arriving in time to save his dying son. Matt Grant speaking with a doctor who's not connected to the case, who says that critical delay could have been deadly.
Deadly, doctors say, because when it comes to saving a life, every second counts. We still don't know how long the actual delay was or what went wrong so that an ambulance was never notified of the 911 call. Collier County EMS says they're still investigating and should have a report finalized by Friday. In the studio, Matt Grant, Fox 4 in your corner.
All new at 6, a Southwest Florida man is in jail tonight accused of having sex with a young boy from Cape Coral on several occasions. 4 News Corner's Colleen Hogan live from Cape Coral Police Headquarters as she's uncovering the disturbing details.
Yeah, good evening, Emily. Police say that the man not only had sex with the young victim, he also sent him illicit photos. Take a look. This is the man, 60-year-old Dane Wilson, charged with lewd and lascivious behavior with the victim between the age of 14 and 16. According to police reports, the boy says Wilson approached him in the bathroom of a Walmart and asked him for his phone number. The boy says he gave it to him out of fear. The report also says Wilson started sending the boy nude photos by phone and later had several sexual encounters between November and January at the boy's home while the parents were away. Now, right now, Wilson is being held in Lee County Jail on a $100,000 bond. He is due back in court next month. Live at Cape Coral Police Headquarters, Colleen Hogan, Fox 4 in your corner.
A Charlotte County woman is in jail tonight accused of stabbing another woman in Punta Gorda. Deputies say 27-year-old Angela Sutton stabbed that victim after the two of them got into an argument at a mud hole. The victim says Sutton told her she was, quote, gonna gut her like a fish. Just before she stabbed her, Sutton is charged with aggravated battery with a deadly weapon. She's being held without bond.
A 4 News Corner crime tracker alert tonight. Police in Naples are warning you about a so-called hitman scam that's been reported 3 different times in just the past 2 weeks. Police say people are getting emails from someone who claims to have been paid to kill them. The supposed killer then offers to spare the recipient's life in exchange for money. Police say if you do get one of these emails, do not respond because the emails could also be infected with phishing software to get your personal information.
In the Storm Patrol Center now, as you predicted, A couple of sweatshirts in the morning for this guy who was on the beach early in the morning. By afternoon, you're like, this is silly. I don't even want a t-shirt on.
I'm really surprised you went with 2 sweatshirts. I thought one would be enough.
Growing up in Florida, you get that thin blood, baby.
Got to the 40s in some of the inland spots. Right now, though, things nearly perfect. Oh, yes, it's a little bit on the cool side, I guess, in Port Charlotte with 68 our current temperature, 68 in LaBelle. But here's the thing that jumped out at me today. The dew point temperatures have been very low. That's been the case over the last couple of days. Right now, they're still in the 30s. At about 3 o'clock this afternoon, our relative humidity, 20% at Southwest Florida International Airport. Holy cow, that's very dry. You can see on the satellite view that we don't have any cloud cover coming anywhere close to us here in the short term. However, there is a cool front that's going to make it into North Florida tonight, and another one that's going to move through over the weekend. Tell you how those might change our weather coming up.
If you are looking for a job, the Postal Service is looking to fill positions in Lee, Charlotte, and Collier counties. They're looking for city carrier assistants who will carry mail for routes where the regular carrier is not available. These openings are for temporary positions, and officials say they could lead to permanent jobs. The deadline to apply is this Sunday, and for application information, just click on the big red 4 on fox4now.com. Secretary of Defense Leon Panetta has signed the order allowing women in the military to serve on the front lines. The order ends a nearly 20-year-old rule banning women from frontline combat. Some critics say that women won't be able to meet the physical requirements and it could weaken the military. But Panetta says that letting women serve in combat roles will strengthen the military's ability to win wars.
The Chairman and the Joint Chiefs of Staff and I believe that we must open up service opportunities for women as fully as possible.
Officials say this doesn't mean every combat position will be available right away. Each branch of the military will now examine every job and assess how to integrate women into them. I want to get your Facebook feedback on this one. Do you think that women should be allowed in combat right there on the front lines? Log on to facebook.com/Fox4Now and join our live conversation. We're going to be sharing some of your comments coming up at 6:30.
Senator John Kerry is done with the first part of his Senate confirmation hearing to become the next Secretary of State. Today he was asked about the current Secretary of State, Hillary Clinton's congressional testimony yesterday on last year's Benghazi attack. If Senator Kerry is approved by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, of which he's currently the chairman, the full Senate will vote on whether to confirm him.
It's the interview a lot of people have been waiting for. Notre Dame football star Manti Te'o opening up about the girlfriend hoax that he says he was a victim of.
What I went through was real. You know, the feelings, the pain, the sorrow, that was all real.
Te'o speaking with Katie Couric on her talk show earlier today. According to Te'o, he was involved in a relationship with a woman that he met online, only to find out later that she doesn't exist. Now he's admitting that he kept the ruse going for a while after learning about it.
This girl who I committed myself to died on September 12th. Now I get a phone call on December 6th saying that she's alive, and then I'm going to be put on national TV 2 days later, and they ask me about the same question. You know, what would you do?
A lot of people are asking, how could someone with Te'o's notoriety fall for such a hoax? Coming up at 6:15, we're showing you how more and more people are becoming victims of this trend. It's known as catfishing.
Movie time, a massive makeover of a very popular movie theater in Southwest Florida is now finished. The grand opening of the Edison Park 8 Cinemas at the Edison Park Plaza in Fort Myers. The theater seating 1,700 people. It includes new state-of-the-art digital picture screens, making it the most modern movie theater in Fort Myers. The theater renovation, part of the city's effort to boost the local economy.
Overall, I think we kind of we're a couple of years ahead of what technology is going to be. Technology is going to be catching up to us because we have the latest technology.
The theater on Fowler Avenue will have 20 full-time employees, a number of part-time jobs too. To apply for one of those jobs or see what's playing and get the show times, go to Fox 4 Now and click on the big red 4.
Still ahead, an elderly man in Cape Coral robbed in broad daylight. And wait until you hear what the thief took.
A program designed to help off-duty police officers who've had too much to drink. Why some are calling this a bad idea.
Tricked into falling in love. A national figure says it happened to him. Now we're hearing about some incredible stories of people getting reeled into online love affairs. That's
Comfortable evening in Southwest Florida with temperatures in the upper 60s, although we did start at 41 this morning in Punta Gorda. How cool will it be tonight? All of your hometown forecast and the answer coming up.
Notre Dame star linebacker Manti Te'o claims he was the victim of a hoax known as catfishing. This is the name for when people lie about who they are as they develop online relationships. All new at 6, Deborah Fayerick explains how some victims are losing more than just their pride. Have you ever heard of or even experienced a catfish situation? You can join the conversation we're having right now on Facebook.com/Fox4Now. We're getting some interesting stories and answers right now. Emily and I chatting with you about this throughout the newscast. So log on now and say who you really are and join our conversation.
Don't fake us out. We'll know. Tonight, we're getting newly released video that shows the tense moments of a bank robbery that turned into a shootout. The video is from the dash cam of a deputy cruiser in Texas. Deputies chasing down the bank robbery suspects. During the chase, the back door of the getaway van suddenly opens as one of the suspects pulled out an assault rifle and starts opening fire, nearly killing one deputy.
And he basically opened up, put 15 rounds into my car, in which I was shot in the head and in the left arm. I remember patting the back of my head because I felt that I had the back of my head blown off.
The deputies survived the shooting. One of the suspects was killed in the shootout. The getaway driver is now going to trial for his alleged role.
The bitter cold blast that's gripping most of the country is not expected to go away anytime soon. Folks in the Midwest and Northeast bundling up as they deal with sub-zero temperatures, brutal wind chills, and all of this snow. That's a lot of snow now. They're still delivering the mail. Temperatures turning a gushing broken water main into a sheet of ice. Look at this. New Yorkers who made some minimal home repairs after Superstorm Sandy are now turning to shelters as they look for warm places to escape the winter onslaught.
Still, well, a bit of a breeze. That's a live shot from the Cape Coral Police Department, courtesy of photojournalist Will Claggett. You can see that flag moving a little bit there in the foreground, but the wind's starting to die down, and that wind by tomorrow morning is going to be close to dead calm. Right now our wind's at about 3 to 5 miles per hour in most spots. And then the weekend after this one, that's when things are going to be changing temperature-wise. We'll talk more about that coming up at 6:45.
A tiny baby born with her heart partially outside of her body is finally getting a chance to go home. The family taking the baby home from this children's hospital in Texas. Doctors performing a 6-hour surgery to reconstruct her chest just to make space for her heart. The girl's mom says after all they've gone through, it's great to be able to take her home.
She's doing really good. She'll be going home on a little bit of oxygen, but very little. She's going home on a feeding tube, but hopefully with OT help, we'll be able to get her feeding through a bottle.
The baby girl will need more surgery in the future. Doctors are going to have to make a sternum for her out of some of her own ribs so that little heart can be protected.
Still ahead, a local school is making big changes when it comes to picking up your child, and it's leaving parents pleased.
Plus, see which airline is making major upgrades to try to get you to fly those friendly skies. Next.
In tonight's Consumer Watch, one of the world's biggest airlines is rolling out a whole new look for those of you flying the friendly skies. American Airlines giving its planes a major upgrade with a whole new design on the outside and new amenities on the inside. The new planes include new mood lights, more TVs in the headrests for first-class passengers, and expanded overhead bins. Officials with the airline say they're incorporating the new look into the 550 new airplanes that are joining the American fleet. A teenage fashion designer is hitting the big leagues as she's taken her work in Nebraska to the Big Apple. The high school sophomore has made such a big splash as a designer in her hometown of Omaha that she's now being invited to New York's Fashion Week. 30 of her original designs will hit the runway. The teen says she's been a trendsetter since she was knee-high. The teen will make her Fashion Week debut in New York on February 8th. Still to come, a Florida teacher who had sex with one of her students is back in court. We're going to tell you why coming up. But first, Cape Coral police trying to find out who robbed an 80-year-old man in broad daylight. And you won't believe what was stolen. That's next.
Live from Southwest Florida's news source, this is Fox 4 News at 6.
Here we've got an elderly man who not only was he robbed forcefully, but what he was robbed of was also something very unique.
A senior citizen robbed of that very special item in the light of day off a busy Cape Coral street.
4 in Your Corner's Colleen Hogan is talking with the victim and police about the cash you could collect for tips.
Yeah, you guys, I spoke with the gentleman earlier today who was robbed. He didn't want to go on camera, but he told me the whole thing happened so fast, he couldn't even see the guy who was robbing him. That's why he hopes if anyone out there did, you can help police to get this crook behind bars. And the gentleman says that there were several people in the area when he was being robbed that did see the guy take off. He's hoping that one of those people comes forward, calls Crime Stoppers, and lets them know maybe a better description of the guy who got away. You can call Crime Stoppers anytime you have a tip. You don't have to leave your name, and you could be eligible for up to $1,000. Live at Cape Coral Police Headquarters tonight, Colleen Hogan, Fox 4 in your corner.
Dismal disappointment, rather. Say that fast 5 times. A Naples mom upset, saying her daughter's elementary school is changing its policies when it comes to picking up kids. She says the new procedure takes too much time. 4 in Your Corner's Julie Salamone taking concerns to the district tonight.
Good evening, Emily. Well, I spoke to Superintendent Dr. Kamala Patton tonight, and she tells me obviously these changes are being made in the best interest of the children. Now, season is here, so there's even more traffic on the streets, and these new policy changes just started this week at Shadow Lawn Elementary School in Naples. Now, I spoke with a parent today, Brooke Tripiano, and she says she used to park at a nearby church and then walk over to the elementary school to pick up her 6-year-old daughter. But recently she was told she just can't do that anymore, and she would have to get in the car line for pickup. And some parents say it just takes too long, especially if you've got other kids in the car crying. Take a listen to what this parent has to say.
Well, I've never waited in the car line because people are backed up like all the way down Shadow Lawn Drive, and I don't have time to do that.
And the superintendent says school deputies clocked cars going nearly 40 miles an hour on this street, and obviously the speed limit's only 25 since we are in a school zone, so that was another major concern. You'll hear much more about what the superintendent has to say about these new policy changes coming up tonight at 10. We are live from Shadow Lawn Elementary School in Naples. Julie Salmon, Fox 4 in your corner.
More now on that Collier County family mourning the loss of their son. They tell us EMS officials admitted privately to them that a glitch occurred, which resulted in an ambulance not being dispatched right after they called 911. But as 4 in Your Corner's Matt Grant is now finding, it turns out the family has very little recourse.
Collier County EMS is still investigating what happened, but lawyers say if Chaz's family wanted to sue, well, they'd have a really tough time. That's because governments are granted sovereign status, making it difficult to sue while not impossible. Attorney Chris Brown says you have to prove there was operational failure and gross negligence.
Extremely difficult to go after emergency medical personnel or police for failure to do a job properly when there's no law that even says there has to be an EMS. So when the government provides one, it's very difficult to then go back and second guess.
Brown says damages are capped at $100 grand and need state legislature approval to go beyond that. The Minard family says for them it's not about the money, but about justice for their dead son and preventing future ambulance delays for others. In the studio, Matt Grant, Fox 4 in your corner.
Your only live local forecast is 6:30. We were just talking about a beautiful storm patrol picture we got. Doesn't even look like it's from Florida.
It is. It's from Lakeport. We don't get a lot of pictures from Lakeport, but Dottie McCoy, she's got the storm patrol covered in the Lakeport area. She sends pictures in on a regular basis. Sky's very clear close to sunset across the board in southwest Florida. Our temperatures falling now into the 60s. 67 in Port Charlotte, 67 our current temperature also on Captiva, 68 in LaBelle with a 71 right now in Bonita Springs. You know how in the summertime we say it's not just the heat, it's the humidity. Well, we have just the opposite going on. It's not just the cool air, it's the cool and dry air. Our dew point temperatures are in the 30s right now, and still, at 6 in the evening, our relative humidity only in the 30 to 40% range. Humidity, though, coming up this weekend. Tell you how it might change your weekend plans coming up.
A former Tampa middle school teacher convicted of having sex with a student is now back on probation. A judge reinstating Deborah LaFave's probation earlier today. This is after an appellate court reversed a trial judge's order to end the probation. Back in 2005, LaFave pleaded guilty to having sex with a 14-year-old boy who she taught at her middle school. The judge says the previous decision to take her off probation was an abuse of judicial power.
My mom was diagnosed with cancer for the second time, and I spent my year of probation, off probation, taking care of her and I'm so fortunate that I was able to take her to chemo treatments and spend the nights with her when she needed me the most.
LaFave is now a married mother of twins. The court ordered her to stay away from schools and any place that children gather.
New pictures coming into our newsroom from a car fire in Bonita Springs. These photos are coming to us from the Department of Transportation's traffic cameras. The accident happening around 10:30 this morning on I-75 near Bonita Beach Road. The video showing a fire truck on scene. It's in the lower right-hand corner there. No word on injuries or what caused the fire. We'll bring you any new information as we get it on air and online on Fox 4 Now.
New information tonight. A South Florida family that's been fighting for months to keep a therapy pig for their son who has Down syndrome has now won their battle. The miniature pig named Twinkie is used as an emotional therapy animal for the 8-year-old little boy. But city officials started threatening to fine the family because their house, they said, is not zoned to have pigs as pets. Well, that threat is now gone after the family's doctor wrote a prescription for the pig.
I think that's the most important thing for me as a mother, to see him get that unconditional love and acceptance.
The pig will be kept inside so that the family can at least partially adhere to that ordinance.
With the Florida python hunt in full swing, state fish and wildlife officials are teaching you how to hunt properly. FWC holding a python hunting workshop in Fort Myers earlier today. The training in conjunction with the Python Challenge that's going on right now in the Everglades. More than 1,000 folks have signed up to take part in hunting the invasive Burmese pythons. And FWC officials say they want to make sure people are hunting safely.
They'll go to people's yards, get their pets, their small children, and there is one recorded episode of a guy that was, I think, about 5'4" and 100 and some pounds.
So far, FWC says 27 pythons have been killed in this year's Python Challenge.
Many of you are telling us what you think on a big matchup going through the court system. A woman is suing the popular dating site Match.com. 4 Reporter's Kelly Stegeman sharing some of your views on if this woman is Mrs. Right or Mrs. Wrong.
Kelly Stegeman, Fox 4, in your corner.
We are now getting your take on something else. Women serving on the front lines in combat.
It's the question generating a lot of talk from you on our Facebook page. Defense Secretary Leon Panetta has decided to open more than 230,000 battlefront posts to women. But critics say that women won't be able to meet the physical requirements and it could weaken the military.
And we are asking you on our Facebook page as we give you a live look, do you think women should be allowed to serve in combat?
Tom says, I'm sure there's plenty of qualified women. If they weren't qualified for those roles, they wouldn't be putting them there.
Ron says, as long as they can meet the male standard, I would have no problem with this. There were several females in my basic training that I would have rather been in a foxhole with than some of the males.
Carol agreeing, writing, who says women are the weaker sex? Those who are capable and willing should be used. Those who are not should not.
Emily said SEX on TV. You can share your opinion right now when you go to facebook.com/Fox4Now. Telling you something good tonight. A group of volunteers in Fort Myers busting out the paintbrushes to help with a much-needed facelift for a building that's good for our babies. The group called Fiddlesticks Cares teaming up with a local contracting company to paint the outside of the Healthy Start office building. Healthy Start provides services that help to reduce infant deaths and increase the number of healthy births in Southwest Florida. And the organization says it's very grateful for all the help it can get.
The most amazing group of volunteers that have come out today. What a nice surprise for us to help us paint our office building. And it's not something that our staff can handle on our own, and we didn't have money to do it ourselves.
We're so blessed and so fortunate to have all these things we have about us, and some people just are struggling right now, and this is one way of helping those that need it, helping them when they really need it.
I love that attitude, and the weather was so nice for it. The volunteers hooking up with Healthy Start after meeting them during a volunteer fair. For more information on how you can volunteer your time with that group, just go to fox4now.com. Click on the big red 4.
Still ahead, it's the program that some say is encouraging police officers to drink. Find out who's defending it and why. Next. A police union is teaming with the group Mothers Against Drunk Driving to set up a program that gives officers a free ride home if they've been drinking.
Now, this is meant to make the road safer for you. But as Fox's Isaiah Carey explains, some say officers shouldn't get to that point under any circumstance. All right, now we want to hear from you about this. Do you think this police drunk driving program gives preferential treatment? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? Tell us why or why not. When you go to fox4now.com, click on Viewer's Voice or call us 239-206-FOX4.
Well, after our cool start this morning turned into a great afternoon with high temperatures in the mid-70s. That is your Storm Patrol forecast. Very unusual catch of the day, Anthony Smith. Congratulations to you. He saw that kind of floating by in the water, so he picked it up, took a quick picture, put it right back into the water. Catch and release, as we like to call it. When you catch the big one, like Anthony, send it to us, Storm Patrol at fox4now.com.
Here's a catch for the ages. This great white shark making it all the way from Florida to North Carolina. Check that thing out. A couple of weeks ago, we told you how the shark was spotted off the coast of Jacksonville. Now, ocean researchers say she's been tracked down to the Outer Banks in North Carolina. The shark is being tracked online with an electronic tag. She has quite a following on Facebook, apparently, people who are very excited to see where she is headed next.
She is not going to that pond behind Fox 4.
That's for sure.
Water level's very low. If you think going on a diet means eating out is out of the question, you can think again on that. How you can dine out and still eat to lose weight. Next. All right, so you made a New Year's resolution to lose some weight, but you feel like you're going to slip off the wagon when you go to a restaurant, right? Well, tonight, I'm showing you how to eat out and still keep it healthy. Do it, Tish, and we're going to be right back right after this.
Well, we're in for a very comfortable evening in Southwest Florida, although it will be a little bit chilly by first thing tomorrow morning. Like this morning, a jacket is probably a good idea till about 8:30. However, in the afternoon tomorrow, as Mr. Kitzel used to say, 77, and we'll be at 78 Saturday, 79 on Sunday, getting a little bit breezy by the end of the weekend.
Those last few days have been absolutely beautiful.
I think every snowbird is happy.
Seasonal residents.
That's
seasonal
right.
residents.
Every
Seasonally
resident is happy,
too.
period.